I'm just gonna grab 3 of these bad boys. Hey everyone. Alright. Thank you all so much for still 33 subscribers. 33. That's still 33 people that are subscribed to my channel, watching a lot of my content, and doing whatever they can to watch whenever they can, you know? I got 3 buddies right now. I just thought, because it's going to be a hard video, I also didn't want to get out of bed and turn on my blue light. I just thought I'd hug these 3 thingies while in bed, and I'd talk to you about my grandma's funeral. So I wanted to talk to you about yesterday and today about what had happened. Yesterday was probably one of the hardest days to start with my week, and I'll tell you, because yesterday I had to do a open casket thing with my grandma. Well, for my grandma's funeral. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically like a tradition before funeral, where it's like, if you want to come over and, you know, meet and greet with the family that is grieving the loss and death of the loved one that died, or the loved ones that have died, and they have the open casket, like they have the dead relative inside the casket so you can see what they looked like and so many different things. I walked in. I had no idea what was respectful and what was disrespectful for some of the parts. Most of it I could think better, like not say anything bad about, what was going on, and what to, but my brother got kind of pissed off because I had a drink in there. I was pretty thirsty. And I thought it was stupid, that we couldn't at least have a drink, a drink, It wouldn't even matter if it was soda or water or something, and I understand now. I understand, But like, if you need a drink, you need a drink, Like, really, I was a thirsty guy yesterday, and I can understand how disrespectful it was. And now I'm looking back on it, I can understand. Yeah. Next, it was kind of hard because I didn't even know what to do. I didn't even know what to say. I kind of just held back my tears a lot of the time because I didn't even know what to do. I was just sitting there. Um, not even sure what to do. My godmother Jennifer came over though. Uh, she usually did that when she usually comes over whenever there's an event going on. So yeah, very rarely we'll do something fun, like going like a small little trip somewhere, or and she'll give me gifts and things like this. This is where I got this from. Was from my godmother Jennifer. This tree thing. It's really comfy. Um, and yeah, I I I even got to see my friend Silas. He walked in, and um, we reminisced together. He felt more like an acquaintance and a close friend than what we did back 2 years ago. And I feel like I've grown distant from some of my friends from that time period, and it was really hard. We talked for about 10 minutes, we said a few jokes, we laughed, we tried. I felt like some of it he was awkward about me, and I feel like I might have done something wrong. I feel like I've done everything wrong in that aspect of losing friends. I I didn't know what else to do. I just kind of just sat there like an idiot. I also, you know, kept on drinking soda because that was the only thing I could do. It it felt wrong. Yesterday we even also ate food, at my grandma's house. And yeah, after I went to the bathroom, trying to make what sense I could into whatever I could, I walked back out, talked with my mom and whatnot, saying that I wanted to walk home. They were worried for me. They were worried that I might, get kidnapped or something because it's a country. There's no cameras really anywhere. Next, like just seeing my grandma in the casket, it felt wrong. It felt like everything was just wrong and mixed up and boiled. I really, really did love her. We had some pretty good conversations, some deep ones too. And one time she even told me that she even just missed her grandkids a lot, because a lot of the time they don't, you know, um, two of my older cousins and whatnot, they don't come over. Neither do my step siblings. They don't visit my stepdad. And all this while, I feel like everything's just fucked up with this. My grandma doesn't even get to see like some of her kids, and it feels like they just they don't they she just felt like they don't need her anymore. And I felt horrible, and I definitely needed her. She definitely needed me. That's for one thing, but I couldn't be over there the last few weeks, like just truly being there with her without like 5 billion people being over there. I wanted to hang out with her. You know, watch TV with her, reminisce. That's that's all we could ever do was we would just sit down, watch TV, and we'd talk about how things were, you know, and not what things were, and how people are. And it's something I'll never get to have back again. And it's fine. But I just know one day I'll be up there. The funeral wasn't anything better. Today was just the day we had to bury her. We went over to the church like normal. Uh, my godmother Jennifer came over again. She dropped me off after, got me going back home, just wanting to go home, just take a nap or whatever. We talked for a little bit in the car before she dropped me off, and it's usually just about like 1.3 miles, two or 2.3 miles just to get back to my home. And we talked about a lot of things. Well, this time we I went in, sat by my family a little bit. You know, they were standing up, you know, doing different things, and that's when my friend Lily called, and we talked for about 3 minutes. Uh, I tried gathering whatever I could. She kept on trying to like say, "Can I comfort you at all right now? If I could be over there, I would comfort you. Hug you, talk to you." There really wasn't anything anyone could do to comfort me in that position, in that moment. Sure, later I would be a little bit better, but it didn't feel right. And by the way, I walked outside taking the call, and I can just see over in the corner of my eye, they had the marking of uh, where my grandma was going to be buried. My brother comes out. He says, is everything okay and whatnot? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just on the phone with Lily for a second. I was gonna say bye, but he had like caught me at like the perfect time when I was gonna say it, and said bye and walked back in. When I got back in, the whole family, about four of us, four families, four families of us just went to sat down. We cramped up like half the pews of the right side, and yeah, the most important part was that my brother got space because he has claustrophobia. Sometimes I do too, but it's not like bad like him, like his correction. Um, I ended up sitting down for the for some of it, standing up, sitting down, praying, thinking about how the family is, seeing some of them with the most tears in their eyes that I could ever see, someone grieving over someone. Um, and I could just hear the pastor just trying to be all so joyfully about it. He kept on bringing up how she was in a better place, uh, and I do believe in that. Trust me, it's really hard to hear. It really is. No matter what, it's really hard to hear. Uh, they had the casket closed at the time, so the whole time I was staring at her, I was picturing her like I had X-ray vision, seeing through the casket, looking dead in her eyes, you know, to see if I could, remember anything from it. And I kept on thinking, just picturing her in my mind, like she had left something for me, like a gift, a present, is what it felt like. And that's how it truly felt, was like a gift or a present for the funeral. But it's just what it was. At the end of the service, there was a bunch of sniffling, crying, um, some reminiscing, and other things like that. We ended up going outside. I saw my friend Lucas. Um, we just hung out the whole time, you know, and there was the there was a tarp over it, chairs. There were certain areas that were covered in green, um, and they carried the casket out. I remember just standing in the middle there, just staring at whatever I could, to see if everything was okay, to find an escape for a second. Stared over at all the other graves, and I just remembered all these people. They're not just dead bodies in a grave. They're people who had lived lives that had given so much to us, that have given so much to the past generations, that have given us so much. It was hard. Um, the pastor ended up saying the closing statements, and we ended up closing the burial, and I ended up crying, uh, pretty much into it. I try not to cry hard. I really didn't want to be smothered by four people, but there I was. Uh, my best friend Lucas by my side, his father, that was a distant cousin of my stepfather, and a friend of my grandma's, and someone else behind me to comfort me. Um, I ended up walking through the graves after, um, seeing different graves. One of a girl who only lived 2 years. Others living World War One, World War Two, Vietnam War, things like that. It's really hard to say goodbye because it's really not a goodbye. It really never is. What I've always learned that it is that if you believe in God, it's always going to be a see you later. You know, you know, people don't just go to heaven. You know, they really got to think, and they really got to feel, and they really got to believe. And that's what it's going to take me, and that's what's going to take her. to get up there. Now, truly, I don't know what's going to happen in the afterlife. We may all end up going through a rapture, but it's just like that. I walked back into the church. Um, we ended up eating food. I barely ate anything other than a whole sandwich with like a large ham, and I didn't even get to eat green beans. Hell, I didn't even eat dessert at all. I just walked out, soda in hand, and went out and listened to music. The whole time I felt like everything was just underwater. Like I could just hear myself only, and everyone else just, it felt like a distant memory, an echo shooting out past me. Like I couldn't understand much. I was playing music that I was trying to respect loved ones that have died. Um, with my cousins thinking that it was disrespectful because it's rap music, I felt like it wasn't okay. I played I'm Going Crazy by an artist that really is really is fucking um, controversial, but I like him. I don't want to say him here because people get offended. I also listen to other songs that uh, respected the dead and different things like that. They buried her. I could just see in the corner of my eye that there was just mounds of rock, and uh, they didn't put the gravestone there yet. I just know that they have to wait to put that there. After a while, everyone was pretty much leaving. My best friend left, and I went and sat by Grandma's grave. I ended up talking to her. I even played a song, you know, that I wanted her to hear before she passed. And I wanted to be there with her to like listen through it when I got the chance to. But I never got to do that thing because there was always something keeping me away from her. I sat there just talking, talking to myself and talking to her and talking to God and just, yeah. And I can't cry right now. I've already cried like 3 times in the past 4 days. I don't need to cry anymore. It's gonna hurt me though. And it's not the only heartbreaking thing. It's just, I can tell my grandpa's not gonna be able to sleep the same as he did before, and I can tell that the family's not going to be the same every time they head over to my grandpa's house because as we get older, our memories fade. Our our mind still thinks that there's somebody, like a manifestation or something still there, keeping it alive, keeping that feeling, extra sharp. And that's what always breaks me is that it's always gonna remind them that that their grandma's dead and that you know I only have about basically two grandmas left. My great grandma's dead. My stepdad's mom is dead. I only have two left. And I don't think that no, I don't have I only have one grandpa. My dad's dad died when I was coming in along the way of being birthed. And I know he's proud of me. I know I know my great grandmas are proud of me. I know my grandma's proud of me, for taking these journeys. Um, I can even remember my one of my friends' moms said that, well, or not moms, but a friend's friend, you know, of and now become best friend of mine, and talking to them. When I said about it, they said, well, maybe our grandmas are eating lunch up in the sky. Who knows? God just works in mysterious ways like that. Um, and it's going to be a whole long while before I get over this. It's going to be a long while until I get over so many people. And it's going to be a while until I get just whatever I can for this. I thank all my friends and family and everybody's support. It means a lot. I'm gonna upload this, I guess, as another remembrance, another thing, and I'll even text a speech I even wanted to give out. I love y'all. Bye.